Talk, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, guys. Let's get right to it. One last ride. Action!
I'm gonna tell you something. I'm Star-Lord. I formed the Guardians. Met a girl, fell in love. That girl died, but then she came back. Came back a total dick.
Oh, please.
What's going on, Alamo City Movie Talk fans? As always, I'm your host, Ryan D. Ryan680.
I'm Angela
And this is Alamo City Movie Talk. Movie Talk for movie fans, guys. If you have not already, like, share, subscribe to us on our Alamo City Movie Talk channel. Hit that subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up on our review. And thank you for making us a part of your day. Let's get right to it. Ladies and gentlemen, what are we talking about, Angela? What movie are we talking about today?
We are talking about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, the last movie in this chapter. So as far as we know.
Yeah, last movie of the James Gunn Guardians, guys. Last movie for sure that we do know as of right now. The last movie we're going to see of James Gunn in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 tells, still reeling from the loss of Gamora, Peter Quill rallies his team to defend the universe and one of their own. A mission that could mean the end of the Guardians, if not successful. So we know from the trailers, and everyone knows from the trailers, that this is really a big take here. James Gunn has openly said it. This is a big take on an origin story of Rocket, and it definitely is that.
It delivered.
Yes, it delivered 110%.
And then some.
Yeah.
And then some. My gosh, we all love Rocket because he's like kind of like abrasive, but he's also kind of charming, witty, just gritty. But you really see a different side of him. Yeah. And you see why. And I absolutely love his backstory. It makes me love him more as character. And, you know, it makes, I guess, their bond as this family so much more special. And I got to say, I applaud James Gunn for that. It's as sad and as brutal as his past was. Mm-hmm. I do appreciate that it was shown. Yeah. I know we had talked about it off camera a little bit, that James Gunn was given a lot of creative control on this film. A lot.
And the chains were off. Disney chains were off, guys.
Disney chains were off.
I'll be honest here, because we're not mentioning spoilers. You can really tell, because this movie, a lot of times, you're watching this movie and you're like, how is this PG-13? How in the hell is this PG-13? And how the hell is this a Disney movie?
It definitely has a lot of darker themes to it, which I like, because, you know, the previous Guardians are very light and colorful and funny and witty and a lot of jokes.
But that was the first one, you know?
Yeah, but I like that we're past that. We can go more into story. It's not just lighthearted fun.
Character development.
Oh my gosh. Like with all the characters. And even Nebula. I gotta say, Nebula's been one of my favorites the whole time. I just love how she's just like stone cold, but she has that heart inside. It's there somewhere deep down. And I just love her so much. I think Karen Gillan is just such a great actress doing Nebula. And I gotta say, gosh, I'm blown away kind of stepping out of this theater. It surprised me so much, and I really liked this film a lot more than I thought it. I didn't have a lot of expectations because I didn't want to set the bar too high. Yeah. It just blew me away.
You know, I'll be the opposite. I actually did have somewhat of a high expectation here, and it blew it away. Definitely did. I love it when movies prove me wrong. I love it when, you know, this is definitely better than the Volume 2. Definitely better than that. I don't know if it's as good as Volume 1. I would argue that, because at times, as of right now, after watching this movie, after watching it fresh take, I believe it is, but it can change, because after rewatching that first one, you kind of re-sync it all together, and you're like, oh crap, this is the end. You know, Gamora, Zoe Saldana, oh my god, so she is phenomenal. She is fantastic. This actress is nonstop brutal in here, and I love it. She does a really good character arc in here, character development. And Chris Pratt, I'll be honest here, Chris Pratt surprised me too. And it's not that I'm not a Chris Pratt fan. I just don't like Parks and Rec, so I don't really like that comedy. But again, I like Aubrey Plaza.
I mean, he's done other stuff.
Yeah, it's different. And I like Jurassic World. You know, I like, it's not really a bothersome. But you know, to put into perspective here, he really did a good job in here too. I loved everything, directed and written by James Gunn, and you can tell once again that this James Gunn, this is the end. He left it on a high note, guys. He left this movie on a high stakes here, and it definitely reached that potential here. And you know, Rocket, we got development of Rocket that we've never gotten before. We got an origin story in a way,
right? Because like he has like adamantly refused to talk about his past in any of the movies, and not just Guardians, but any of like the other branched out like Avengers and stuff. So I gotta say, to get not just a glimpse into it, but like full-fledged story.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, done so well.
Done well.
Gosh, I cannot stress enough how much I loved Rocket's backstory. It's so tragic, but you see him like a phoenix rising from the ashes.
Yeah.
It explains so much, and you just can't help but love the character even more, at least for me. And so I gotta say, it is a tearjerker, like you say, emotional roller
really is.
coaster.
I think this is the most I've seen since audience have reacted in a way to where it's very crying. Our theater was a lot of tears, a lot of tears. I think the last time I was comic book movie wise, I think the last time I could remember is Infinity War, where the Spider-Man.
I gotta say, a lot of the Marvel movies have those moments that like tug at your heartstrings because it's just emotional, and the music, and you get caught up in the moment.
Yeah,
but like
nonstop though.
The themes of this were darker, and it hit more home for me.
Yes, it did.
Because I do like animals, like I'm an animal lover. So I would every time it's a tear streaming down my face, which I don't usually do in things. Like I'm a crier in films. I'm not. Don't get me wrong. I cry. The sad moments, I cry.
She does.
But I must have gone through like 10 napkins just tearing my face because I kept. It was so good.
Yeah.
It kept. Such an emotional roller coaster. Kept me on my toes. And it was also tears of joy too, not just sadness, not just sad themes, but you see the way it unfolds, the story, where it goes, and the ending and such forth, and you just can't help but just feel like you're on this ride. And
you definitely you really become a part of this, almost to a sense to where you get sucked back into this universe. And I love it too, because the thing with me was that with Marvel is that you can't just, with Quantumanium, the last two movies, whether you love them or not, my personal opinion, I did not like the last two. I hated the last two Marvel movies. So they already had that bad slate already. But knowing this was written and directed by James Gunn, we knew this was going to be the last hoorah of James Gunn. And by God, he did a fantastic job here. This movie is such an emotional roller coaster. You're crying, you're tearing up, you're getting to this emotional level, Ted Lasso level in a way, to where you really get into that story arc, into that story depth, and it really sinks you in, and you just fall for these characters. You fall for new characters, new introductory of Rocket's past. You fall in love with these characters. You fall in love with everybody here in a way to where like they did a damn good job. They did a damn well story output. I mean, this whole movie in itself is such a fantastic movie. This is back up again, and it sucks because, Marvel, the last two movies, whether you liked them or not, I just didn't like them. And knowing that this is it, this is going to be, this is definitely a movie worth watching, guys. And we do recommend this film. And also we know one of the things that we noticed in here was a lot of people from Peacemaker were in here.
Yes.
Two in particular. Of course, James Gunn's wife was in here. Of course, she has to be. And I like that. I kind of like her. Granted, they're not all big or small roles. Like, I like the roles that she does because it kind of. He kind of hinted like, oh, like it's you can kind of tell, you'd be like, is that really James Gunn's wife? You kind of get you're
oh no, I think there was like a scene where she like yelled or something, and I was like, yep, that's her.
Yeah, definitely, definitely here. And then we saw Sylvester Stallone in here as well, which is named to the cast as well. Dave Bautista, Vin Diesel, of course. A lot of Dave Bautista in here. I think Dave Bautista got a really character development, a good one. Yeah, because I mean, he did a lot.
We see Drax
way better than he did in the last one because he wasn't just funny.
Because I mean, I feel like we got his backstory in the first film, right? But I feel like it didn't touch. Well, yeah, like they mentioned what happened, like how he got there to that point with his daughter and his family, but. We don't really see too much from that. We see him as like this lighthearted character who makes like real quick jokes and stuff. Yeah. And it's kind of like humor goes over him. Yeah. But we see more than that in this film, which I like. It's not just Rocket, but we get also Drax, which I really like. I really like Dave Bautista's Drax. And I know he's done as Drax, unfortunately, but the way his story was written, I gotta appreciate that too. It was really good. And I gotta say, I loved hearing more about his story. Yeah,
I would say this, Adam Warlock in here, because that was anticipating when we saw the last Guardians.
Will Poulter?
Yeah, Will Poulter, he did a good job. For what it was taken, for what it was written for upon him, he did a good take here. I would say that. I mean,
coming from We're the Millers.
Yeah,
which he will always be that for me.
Dude, I just can't believe this is the same kid from We're the Millers. I just can't believe that. This is definitely, it's crazy. we go back to Nebula. You know, such a huge development with
Karen
her.
Gillan.
I know you mentioned it. Yeah, you mentioned it already
her.
with Karen Gillan. Yeah, she did a great job in this. And there's times to where you kind of like, this is the same Nebula that was in the other card. Like, it's just,
this was literally the same Nebula that wanted to kill everybody.
Yeah, this is so
wanted
different.
To kill every single one of them.
This is so different. so like, it's just James Gunn. That's all I'm saying. He knows how to write a story. He knows how to keep character development. He knows how to really stand out characters that we didn't think. But yeah,
even Mantis.
Yes, Mantis.
She got more because I know I feel like she's kind of pushed to the side a little bit. I know we got more of her story in the second one. Yeah. With being with Ego and everything. Yeah. But I feel like since then she's kind of been just kind of like there. Yeah. But we get to see a little bit side of her.
Dude, yes. We got a lot of good stuff with Mantis here. A lot of different takes here when it comes down to, without mentioning spoilers, right? So we got a lot of different jokes in here. A lot of different emotional levels that this movie's emotional roller coaster. It keeps you laughing and one scene.
It's jam-packed in like 2.5 hours.
Yeah. And get this, guys. Ant-Man. Okay, Ant-Man Quantumanium. There was jokes nonstop in that, just like Little Thor, Love and Thunder. I did not like those movies, granted. But in this one, is there nonstop jokes? No. Is there jokes where there needs to be? Hell yes. There's jokes at the right moment. This movie was edited, was filmed the James Gunn, the right way of filmmaking here. And it definitely surprised me on so many different levels. It surprised me on a lot because we see this serious tone here. And then out of nowhere, they just do the Guardian. It reminded me so much. You know what this reminded me of? So much of Guardians 1. Reminded me so much, and I love that humor. I love how it was just quirky, and it was serious, and then it was like a serious story here, kinda, and then it was just like, okay, here's a joke here, and then a story again.
I feel like the way the characters interacted, it reminded me of one of the Avengers movies. Like, I'll never forget, I think one of my favorites out of all the movies is where they're like, who Gamora? Why Gamora?
What is Gamora? Oh my god, dude, that's classic. And you see that, you see that real argument more, but it's weird. It's hard to explain, guys, but it's so intuitive. You could just tell that they've been together for a long time. It feels more smooth and natural, those arguments, and I love it because it's like you could relate. It makes it human based. It makes it very relatable.
Well, yeah, because I mean, even a family
who doesn't. What family doesn't argue like that? That's all I'm saying.
They bicker. Sorry.
Yeah. All right, guys. Was this fun that we deserved? Hell yes, it was. Rating 1 out of 10. 10 be the highest. Angela, we give this rating.
This is hard because I've always told myself,
yeah,
I don't think I can ever rate a movie a 10, and I think I still stand by that. But
I can rate a movie 10.
I gotta say this was like a 9.5 for me, 9.5, just because I was an emotional wreck the entire time, and I've never had that kind of emotional impact on me in a theater, especially for a comic book movie. Out of all movies,
I know,
all
right?
Movies, right?
Yeah.
So it's just a testimony to the great writing, the great story. So I will stick by 9.5.
Yeah, there's times, and I love this. Whether you like or hate DC, whatever. There's when a comic movie, and it's granted, I love DC. So DC has done that to where like it's in a way to where you kind of not forget, but in a way you're like, this is such a good storytelling that the Batman, the Dark Knight, the Nolan trilogy. It's such a damn good story. It doesn't feel like a comic book movie in a way. Because you take away the Batman, it's just a guy in a suit trying to protect. Like it's the story and the way it's told is so damn well put out that it doesn't really feel like a comic movie to my taking. Granted, yeah, but about this film though, it's so damn good. You don't forget, but in a way, it's kind of like it dives in deeper than any one of the best comic movies. For sure, definitely, guys. But yeah, I'm gonna have to give this a solid 9.5. I'm gonna give it 9.5 as well. I love this movie. It gave me chills, gave me emotional experience here, and I never thought I would say that with a Marvel movie. I never thought I would say that.
You will need tissues coming out of this movie. I'm sorry, I don't care who you are, unless you're like a stone cold killer, void of any devoid motion. It's gonna have impact on you. I guarantee you. So I gotta say, be prepared.
Yeah,
Be
definitely,
prepared.
guys. Definitely, guys. All right, put in comments down below. Questions for you guys. What did you think of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, the last send-up for James Gunn? Thank you so much, guys. Put a question down below. Did you watch it? Did you hate it? And we'll have our spoilers review later this weekend, guys. As always, I'm your host, Ryan D. Ryan680.
I'm Angela Takalian.
It's Alamo City Movie Talk, guys. Check you later. Stay safe, San Antonio. Peace.